This video details the complete installation process for your new Fishman Fluence Single-Width pickups using step-by-step wiring diagrams and demonstrations. If you can solder a wire to a lug, you can install your Fluence pickups, because honestly, that's about the extent of my own soldering ability. So just take your time and double-check each step along the way. If you're not comfortable performing this installation yourself, your local reputable luthier or repair shop will have no trouble taking care of this for you. So long story short, don't try to do this 15 minutes before you leave for your next gig, but if you have the will and the tools, you can absolutely do the job yourself. Okay, the first thing you want to do after removing your strings and your pickguard is to desolder each of the connections to the 5-way selector switch. We'll be keeping the switch, but we'll be removing everything else from under the pickguard. So I'm going to clip the wires leading to the output jack as well, because we'll be replacing these. At this point, remove the existing potentiometers entirely and unscrew the pickups to be replaced, leaving only the 5-way pickup selector switch. Now for the actual Fluence single-width pickup installation, we're going to start with the bridge pickup, which is easily identifiable by having all the colored wires coming off it. Our pickups come with the covers attached, but they are removable if you prefer the raw look of bare pickups. If you are reattaching the covers, just make sure the logo on the pickup cover is oriented the same as the logo on the pickup coil itself. Your other two pickups are absolutely identical, so you don't need to worry about having one specifically for the middle position or the neck, because that's all taken care of via the electronics and the circuitry. Okay, now take either one of the two 3-lug standard pots here, and we're going to insert that into what would be the volume knob position with the lugs facing away from the bridge pickup. Take the second identical one, and that'll go in the middle position also with the 3 lugs facing away. And that will leave you with the one pot that looks vastly different than the other two. This is the push-pull and is used to select between voice 1 and voice 2. So we'll put that into the remaining position with the lugs facing towards the pickups this time. And we're ready to begin our wiring. So the first thing we're going to wire up here is each ground from the individual pickups to the case of the number 1 pot. And that's going to be these black wires here. They don't need to be in a specific area of the case because it's all grounded. Just make sure you have a nice firm connection. Next, we're going to run a ground wire from pot to pot, and also notice that it's going to pass through the number 3 lug on pot number 1. So at these 4 points. Use the unshielded length of wire that comes with your Fluence pickups. And again, make sure you have connection at these 4 points. Next, we're going to solder the included capacitor from the case of pot number 2 through the number 3 lug of pot number 2, and then onto the middle lug of our push-pull pot. So again, run that through the 3rd lug of pot number 2, and that's going to be soldered to the middle lug of pot number 3, and then just solder it to the case of pot number 2. Okay, next we just need to solder this last ground wire to the number 3 pot. And it's just a bit easier, I think, to run a short length like this through the 2 middle lugs and then onto the case itself, as we'll see here. So through the 2 middle lugs, I'll just bend it around to the side of the case. And you can solder it and snip off any excess. Again, just removing excess of the unshielded cable we've used earlier and solder it to the case. Alright, that's about as tricky as the wiring gets. Everything else is pretty straightforward here. We're just going to run the orange cable from the bridge pickup through to the number 1 lug on the number 1 pot, and then onto the corresponding lug on the 5-way switch, as you see in the illustration here. I'm just going to take an extra length of orange wire here so that I can more easily solder it to the number 1 lug on the number 1 pot. And once I have that connection, I'll just continue to bring it around to the 5-way selector switch lug. Next, we will run one of the included yellow wires from the middle lug of pot number 2 to the corresponding lug on the 5-way switch. Take another length of yellow wire, run it from the number 3 lug of the number 3 pot, also to the 5-way switch. Take the gray wire from the bridge pickup and run it to the lug on the number 3 pot. Again, look at the illustration. If you're unsure, it is the lug closest to the actual pickguard itself. Run the white lead wire from the neck pickup to the first lug on the inside of the 5-way selector switch. Do the same with the white wire from the middle pickup and run it to the next lug on the 5-way. And lastly, with the bridge pickup, do the same. I'm running it through this little space here between the pickup and the first pot just to try to keep things a little neater. Now this blue cable here is the high frequency tilt feature. It's useful to tame amplifiers with a strong treble boost, or if you're a player that's used to using passive pickups with long cables, you might want to roll off a little bit of the highs, and you can achieve that here. All you would need to do is run this blue wire to ground, any ground, and you will achieve the high frequency tilt feature effect. If you don't want to engage this effect, the high end roll off, just isolate the cable. You can see I'm just wrapping it up here and tucking it out of the way. Next, connect the yellow wire from the bridge pickup to the corresponding lug on the 5-way switch as illustrated here. And again, I'm going to run it through this little pocket here to keep things neater. Run the included orange wire from the middle lug of pot number 1 and keep that length of wire intact because this is going to go to our output jack. Do the same with the length of green wire, except solder this to the case. This is going to be part of the ground for the output jack. And your completed pickguard should look like this. You have orange, green, and red wires, and you have your 9-volt battery clip remaining. Now I've determined this is the area under the pickguard where I'm going to place the 9-volt battery. I have the remaining ground wires that were connected to the bridge and to the tremolo system, so I'm just going to solder those together and connect them to ground. Next, I'm going to splice the red wire coming off of the bridge pickup to the red wire for our 9-volt battery. Make sure to insulate this splice with some tape or heat shrink tubing so it doesn't inadvertently cause a short when everything is back under the pickguard. Now with everything in place, you just need to run your cables through the existing route in the control cavity through to your output jack. Now with the 3 remaining wires running to your output jack, black, green, and orange, orange is going to go to the tip of the jack, that's the hot lead. Black and green are going to go to the other 2 lugs, as shown in this picture. Once you've wired that, you can reinstall the output jack, attach your battery and place that inside the body of the guitar underneath the pickguard. Reattach your pickguard, tighten the lugs for your volume and tone pots, string your guitar back up. Don't forget to make your final pickup height adjustments to your taste. And most importantly, enjoy your new Fluence Single-Width Multi-Voice pickups.